Good day there. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show. This is episode 127, February 19th, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. I wanted to lead off with this Bill Barr controversy. And so now there's rumors that Bill Barr, the Attorney General, is threatening quitting. Well, there's been a little bit of a row. Bill Barr, who's been an awesome Attorney General, second time around in this job, has been superb. He has done a great job. I think he's been very fair. And there was rumors that he might plan on resigning. And so the DOJ spokesperson, Carrie Kupek, tweeted that addressing Beltway rumors, the Attorney General has no plans to resign. So the scuttlebutt here is that Bill Barr, was wanted to let Donald Trump know that when Bill Barr said that Trump's tweeting is making it impossible to do his job, that he's thinking of just quitting, and that Donald is this very oppressive dictator and is asking Bill Barr as his Attorney General to do things that he doesn't want to do. And remember, Eric Holder was the Attorney General to Barry Obama, and he was his wingman. Remember JFK? Do you remember who JFK's Attorney General was? Oh, you think it was a tight relationship? Oh, it was his little brother, Bobby. Bobby Kennedy was JFK's Attorney General. Okay, so of course, the Attorney General serves at the pleasure of the president. But we want to have some fairness, and I think Bill Barr has been very fair, okay? But the President of the United States hires and fires the Attorney General. The President of the United States hires and fires the FBI director, okay? This is all under the second Article 2 powers of the executive office, who the president is the head of it. So Barr, speaking to ABC News last week, was talking about that he denied any ever acting under improper influence from Trump or the White House. Okay, of course, the Democrats are going to make a lot of hay out of this, so be it. And this has to deal with the Roger Stone case. So Donald Trump did say that he said, let's see, I'm looking at a Fox News article. He said that he had total confidence in his Attorney General. He says, I have total confidence in my Attorney General, he said earlier Tuesday. I do make his job harder. I do agree on that. We have a great Attorney General, and he's working very hard. Oh, I love this. I mean, this is totally diffused. And the Republicans were really smart here. Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy all came to Barr's defense and said, oh, Donald Trump picked a great Attorney General. Bill Barr is a great Attorney General. He is the highest character and questionable integrity. Okay. And so that's when Democrats, Pocahontas and everyone are crying, oh, Attorney General should resign. I mean, some people are talking impeachment again. Oh, impeach. Anything doesn't go their way, the Democrats just want to impeach the president. Nancy Pelosi wants Donald Trump to do exactly what she says. And if he doesn't, she's going to impeach him. See? You see why we think there's an abuse of power here, but it's not on Donald's side of the fence? I love the meme going around where they Photoshop Nancy out of the State of the Union picture there with Donald down low giving the speech, and then Nancy and Mike Pence up above them. Oh, it's a little girl, who's crying. It's got all these torn up papers. Nancy was throwing her little fit, and tearing up the State of the Union speech. So anyhow, this is Bill Barr has been great. I hope he hangs in there. If not, Donald just put another Attorney General in. No big deal. Working for Donald, would you want him to be your boss? The guy is really intense. He is really going to demand excellence out of an employee of his. If I worked for him, he's going to keep me on my toes. I think this is how Donald gets so much done. He is a really intense CEO, okay? He wants results, and he expects results. And if you don't provide results, you're fired. He'll fire you. Oh, I love it. Oh, it puts people on their toes. And this is how you can really get a lot out of a business. Donald's done that. And I love it. He's getting a lot out of our government. It's been great. Speaking of that, Donald's pardoned some people in commuted sentence. You know, a full pardon means like that's totally expunged from your record. So if you had a crime, you're convicted of a crime, and if you're pardoned for that crime, then it's like you were never convicted of the crime. Commuting a sentence means you still have that crime conviction on your records, but then the sentencing, if it was going to be 4 years and you're commuted and then you only serve 2 years, that sentence was commuted. So Donald Trump's got the power to do that for all these federal crimes. And so he has commuted the sentence of former Governor Blago, however you say that, the Illinois governor, a Democrat who was bribing people to try to take over Barry Obama's U.S. Senate seat. So he got caught doing that. Who knows how many people do this, but he was serving out that sentence, and so Donald released him and commuted his sentence. I mean, he was in prison for like 8 years. Okay, some people are whining and moaning over this. Oh, Donald's just great. I mean, I love it. He also pardoned Michael Milken, that financier guy. And then he also pardoned New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik, who was sentenced for tax fraud in 2010. The former San Francisco owner, Edward DeBartolo Jr., was convicted of failing to report a bribe to a former governor of Louisiana, and he pleaded guilty in 1998. So Donald has been using his power. I love it. We're getting a lot of mileage out of this guy. Donald Trump Jr. tweeted that the Dems are mad at Trump for abusing his pardon power. No, they're very grumpy. They don't like anything Donald does. Total presidential pardons, sentence commutations. Carter, 566. Reagan, 406. So Carter, in one term, did more than Reagan did in 2 terms. H.W. Bush, 77. Bill Clinton, 459. George W., 200. Obama, 1,927. And Donald, 26 so far. Wow. Abuse of power. Well, it looks like Donald is pretty skimpy on these. So there you go. It's so quick to do a fact check, because the media, don't expect them to do any of that for you, right? They're going to make a big deal. They're going to make their point from their bias, from their side of the aisle. Even Fox News, I mean, all these reporters, like 95% of them give to the Democrats, okay? So many of the Fox News people are even giving money to the Democrats. So we sometimes get a better conservative look at Fox News, but still, like I mentioned yesterday, gun control, Fox News, most of the people on Fox News are really into gun control and gun confiscation. There's no proof or evidence that decreases crime at all. Look at Australia, taking away all the guns. But the left loves it. They just hate that we own guns. It just drives them nuts. They want to ban that. Speaking of nutty, I mean, China is now having trouble. All these cities are on lockdown because of the coronavirus. And so now people can't come in and donate blood. So they're seeking for blood donations. Oh, it's a huge mess. They still won't let the CDC go in there. Oh, they've got egg on their face. Complete mismanagement of this coronavirus outbreak. So the latest reports are not that it's coming from like the animals in the food market, but that the virus was brought into that food market. Oh, and there's rumors that the Chinese have some laboratory close by where they had all these pathogens, and maybe it came from there. Well, there's no evidence of that, but definitely China knew they had a big problem at the end of November And they did not share that with anyone else. They really hid this and buried this story and buried all these people who are dying from this coronavirus. So, interesting. So I did mention yesterday, there are worries that this coronavirus could bring down the U.S. economy. Apple's having production problems in China. All the more important for us to get out of China. A lot of our lab testing stuff and equipment is coming from China. So anyhow, this is a sober reminder for us to diversify. And really, China is our number one enemy right now. Christopher Wray of the FBI says that. So, when I'm buying things, I really try hard in my little purchasing decisions to not buy Chinese stuff. It's hard sometimes, but it can be done. There are some choices. I used to buy these mandarin oranges fruit packs that I like, fruit cups. Well, they're from China, right? Mandarin oranges, they're from China. Some of our other canned fruit is from China. So I am trying very hard to check that out, and I don't buy those anymore. Do not want to contribute to the Chinese economy. They're the number one threat. They're stealing all of our stuff. Huawei is just a company made up to steal things. That lady is still in Canada, arrested, that Huawei executive. It shows you the serious of the illegalities that the Chinese have been pulling on us. So, Mayor Cheat, boot egg. Oh, so anyhow, he was touting that he had all these partnerships with, with these black-owned South Carolina businesses, okay? And he said that he had he called these partnerships and a comprehensive investment in the empowerment of Black America. And he said that begins with entrepreneurship. This is from a Fox News article. And our campaign has proudly partnered with local businesses like Diane's Kitchen in Chester, Atlantis Restaurant in Monk's Corner, and Fair Deal Grocery on Charleston East Side. Okay, so now two of these businesses, Diane's Kitchen and Atlantis Restaurant, said they, quote, only remembered welcoming Boot Eggs campaign as customers, not foregoing any sort of partnership with the candidate. Quote, I stand for what I stand for, and I didn't say I had a partnership, Diane's Kitchen owner Diane Cole told ABC News. The report that alleges that Boot Egg campaign attempted to persuade Cole into changing her position so that it, quote, would be more closely matched with language Boot Egg used in his op-ed. Ooh. In multiple message after ABC News asked the campaign about Cole's response. Quote, it sounds like you're saying that I am your business partner. I'm only going to accept that you all stopped while you were campaigning in South Carolina, and I welcomed you all, Cole told the campaign in one message. Oh, my. Oh, Mayor Cheat. It looks like he's at it again. He's lying. This reminds me of Pocahontas. Oh, when she was talking about all this Cherokee Nation stuff, but apparently she never even called up the Cherokee Nation, and said, I'm part Cherokee and I'm doing these things with the Cherokee Nation. And then they said, well, we have nothing to do with Pocahontas. She's not Cherokee. She's not part of our tribe. Oh, E. Warren was really stupid. Yeah, so if you're going to tout somebody for supporting you, you better make sure they're going to publicly support you. Oh, oopsie daisy. Little egg on boot egg face. Oh boy, he's fading in the polls here. We've got Doomberg. Mini Mike is making his move. Yeah, Mini Mike Doomberg. Rush Limbaugh calls him Doomberg. So he's got these mercenaries, okay? So the billionaire, what he's doing, he's paying these little mid-level lawyers, okay, to go work in the attorney general offices of these other liberal states, these leftist states. And so he's got his little spies in his little mercenaries. And so the states go, oh yeah, free lawyers. Yeah, sure, we'll take that. And then these little spies, what they do is they just pursue all this climate-based litigation. Oh, such a waste, such a drain on our economy. This panic over climate change is it's just perfect for the left. They love it. It gives them the excuse to manage and micromanage and control, our whole economy. Barry said, well, we're not going to go back to the Stone Age. Oh, well, of course. Okay. Greta Thunberg, how dare you? She wants us to go back to the Stone Age. She doesn't want us to fly in airplanes anymore. What a party pooper. The oceans for thousands of years have been increasing by like 0.3 centimeters. I mean, that's according to NASA. Okay, NASA's run by the left, so this very itty bitty increase in the oceans has been going on for hundreds of years. I mean, we don't know what's going on here. So if we're going to have some flooding, we need to build dikes. We can't, how are we going to change this? There's no scientific evidence that we could do anything. I know we're trying to be clean. I know we've decreased our carbon footprint in the United States. We've decreased it more than anyone else has decreased their CO2 output. But it's still, there's a linkage between CO2 and warming, but it's just a linkage. It's not proven that an increase in CO2 will increase even the temperature. So there is so much about climate that we don't know. So to spend tons of money. I mean, I just heard on the radio that Jeff Bezos spent, I don't know, like $10 billion. I don't know what it was on climate change. I mean, I think he's trying to impress his girlfriend, but whatever. I mean, and that's his money. He can do with it what he wants. The 5, they were talking about that. And, we still have terrible diseases like diabetes, which is awful, rheumatoid arthritis, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. I mean, we have incredible issues. High blood pressure, coronary artery disease. We have, diabetes. Wow, if we could have a cure for diabetes. I mean, these diseases are just wicked. Cancer. So there is a lot to be done. This climate change panic is just really, it's just run by the left, and it is just pure panic nonsense. And if you just look at Cortez, I mean, look at the things she proposes in response to that. Look at the Green New Deal. Look that up. You know how long this is? You know it's going to cost like $100 trillion? I mean, that's the whole output. I think the GDP of the United States is like $15 or $16 trillion a year. Okay, $100 trillion, that's a lot of money. That's like for over 10 years, every penny we make in America from everybody would have to go to the Green New Deal. Wow. Do we really want to do? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Speaking that, let's go back to mini Mike Bloomberg. When he was mayor, he proposed a ban on baby formula. I mean, he wanted hospitals to have it under lock and key. This guy is a control freak. He takes our straws away from us. He's taking our sugary pops away from us. This guy is just Mr. Control Freak. This is what we don't like about the left. Okay, they want to boss us around. They take away our freedom. What does the government say about baby formula? The pediatricians want all the babies to be breastfed. Breastfeeding is great, okay? But formula is good too. They both have their pros and cons. If you have infections and problems like that, if you've got moms who are doing drugs, they pass some of those on to their babies. There can be some problems with breastfeeding your child. And there can be problems with formula feeding, but both of them are safe. Are you kidding me? If formula wasn't super safe, it would be banned. The left wants to get rid of formula. Oh, and you know why? I think I've mentioned it before on the show. Why does the left want to get rid of formula? Why does the Department of whatever the pediatricians are called, the American Academy of Pediatrics. Oh, they're kind of down on formula. The government's kind of a down on formula. They don't say it's unsafe. They don't say it's bad, but they want you to breastfeed over formula. Why? Why do you think? Oh, follow the money. It's always about the money. Oh, the WIC program and the government wants to pay for all of this formula. Oh no, that's formula is very, very expensive. No, they want these people, instead of going to the government for help by the formula, and I think poor people bottle feed a greater percentage than wealthier people. And so the government hates spending all this money on this stuff. It drains their coffers. So they want women to breastfeed so the government doesn't have to pay for it. Oh, how much better if the government didn't have to pay for any kind of formula at all? Why is the government involved in charity work? Let the charities do the charity work. Let the government do governing, not all this social engineering nonsense. It's been a bad thing for America. Let us take care of our poor through our charities and our NGOs and the Salvation Army. Oh, Americans are so generous. We are the most charitable people on the planet. We will take care of the poor. But government does such a terrible job taking care of the poor. As a matter of fact, they encourage the poor. When Obamacare was going through and all this new Medicaid stuff, Governor Beshear, the older one, not Andy, but I forgot, was Steve Beshear, the former governor of Kentucky. Oh, he was bragging about getting all these extra people on Medicaid. Oh, government health insurance, Medicaid. Oh, he thought that was so wonderful. I'm thinking, oh, this is terrible. And so people were dropping their private health insurance just to go on Medicaid because it was so easy to qualify. He made it super easy for that to happen. Oh, how much better if we pay for our own health insurance. And that helps keep costs low. People on Medicaid tend to overuse the system. They're not paying for it. They don't care. They overuse the system. They're not as frugal of those people who are paying for their stuff. Third-party payers don't care about the prices. I was just talking about that to a friend. We do all these expensive procedures in the hospital, but no one's really, who's paying the bill? Well, a third-party payer, usually the federal government, like through Medicare or Medicaid, or even a private insurance company. And they're not even in the building, okay? Some of these things are really expensive. No one cares about the cost because the person who's paying for it is not even in the building, the government or a health insurance company. But if we were all paying for things ourselves, when we do that, then we're very price sensitive. Boy, you come and see me and I do my job at the hospital. No one even asks how much I charge for anything. I don't even know. No one cares about costs. And now we care about costs. And, as an anesthesiologist, I care about costs. And I'm trying to keep doing an anesthetic that's really, really good and yet not breaking the bank and using drugs that are super expensive when I can find another drug that's comparable and that doesn't cost so much. So we're constantly cost cutting, but really, where are the incentives of doing that? I want to do that for the hospital's sake. I want to do that for the government's sake. I want to do that for the patient's sake. And I feel I want to do it for my sake. I'm paying the bills too and paying my taxes. So people do have a vested interest. But with the patients, if they were all paying for things, we would do much better. I remember years ago I had a patient and we do nerve blocks for shoulder surgery. And I asked him if he wanted me to do a nerve block. And he goes, well, how much is that going to cost? I'm paying cash for this procedure. I don't have health insurance. How much is that going to cost? And I really didn't know. And I called my company up to figure it out. And I think it was like $300 to $400 for me to do that nerve block. That was the bill. And the guy goes, oh, no, I'll just do without that. Because he was paying for it. He's the only, how often do you think someone asks me a question like that? No, if I do get questions like that, it's very rare. And it's usually because the people are paying for their own care. And so then they have a more vested interest in what's going on. There's a story on Tamika Hart. This is jumping back to the Roger Stone trial case. So I don't know. I mentioned her, I think, yesterday. Tamika Hart she was on the jury of this Roger Stone trial. So she's from Memphis. She lives in D.C. now. Oh, she works for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So she's a lawyer. And then she was the head foreperson, whatever that is called, on this jury in trying Roger Stone. And she's going off on Twitter about how much she hates Donald Trump. So this is just really, really bad. It looks like the jury was very biased, and that this lady who hates Donald Trump, and probably Roger Stone, who's Donald Trump, who has some affiliation with Donald Trump. Roger Stone likes Donald Trump. So it looks like she hates Republicans. Roger Stone was a conservative Republican for the most part. And so this lady had to get really vocal on social media. She was the foreperson in this trial, and now we're trying to get this hard conviction of 9 years on Roger Stone. Lots of people have been moaning and groaning about this. Usually you get 2 to 3 years for these process crimes that Roger Stone did, that he is convicted of doing. But no, they're throwing the book at him, and these 4 Democrat prosecutors resigned. I mean, what a joke this has been. Bill Barr's intervened. That's part of my lead story. He intervened and was trying to get a resentencing. So anyhow, the thing is, if this judge, this Obama judge, if she decides to throw the book at Roger Stone, what we're going to do, what his lawyers are going to do, they're going to appeal this decision. And with all of this contamination of this case, with this super biased jury lady, Tamika Hart, well, it looks like this could be overturned. So that's just more of the same for us. Okay? It's really hard for conservatives. I mean, we're trying to look for fairness, and it seems to be very easy for us to find things that are not super fair. I mentioned the Andrew McCabe thing. A lot of my friends are really mad that the deputy FBI chief, Andrew McCabe, who's caught in all of this bad stuff by leaking things and yelling at the leakers and kind of making stuff up, why can't we convict him? Why isn't the DOJ going after him for criminal charges? Well, I've talked to friends about that. Well, it's hard to prove intent. Okay, he works for the FBI. He's supposed to spy on people. He's supposed to do all this stuff. We pay him to do that. But for us to prove that he intentionally did this maliciously is very, very difficult to do. So we're not going to be able to do that. That's the same with Hillary Clinton deleting the emails. She just acted dumb. It's really hard to prove intent. It's near impossible. I mean, Hillary's a lawyer. She should know better. Andrew McCabe's a lawyer. They know what not to do, usually, okay? And so it's really hard to prove anything against them. This morning I was watching CNN to see what the left was up to. They had this senior advisor guy, former senior advisor to Barry on there. I forgot his name. But he wrote a book about how the Democrats can win. And he was asked about the economy, and he says, well, we don't want to talk about the good economy, okay? What our point is that the economy is not very fair, okay? And so there are some people who are not doing very well. So they're going to just they got to find, when they're running against Donald, they got to find some things that are not working well. And so that's how they're going to frame it, that the economy is not very fair. Who said life's fair anyway? Was that Bill Clinton who said life's fair? Oh, yeah. Life is not fair. I don't think life's very fair, right? That's where my faith in God really helps me think about that some people are born with disabilities. Some people are born in very poor countries and starving to death. And I was born in the United States. Man, I won the lottery. I can't believe I was born here. This is such a wonderful country. What a blessing it's been for me. And so things aren't fair for everyone, but I think overall, once we die and we're judged by Jesus Christ, things will be made fair. God will make things fair for us. And so maybe not short-term fairness, but overall things are going to be fair. Overall. I wanted to finish with a positive quote from Jeffrey R. Holland. He's an apostle in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where I go to church. And he said in a talk, "Don't you quit. You keep walking. You keep trying. There is help and happiness ahead. Some blessings come soon, some come late, and some don't come until heaven. But for those who embrace the gospel of Jesus Christ, they come. It will be all right in the end. Trust God and believe in good things to come." Oh, I love that. I know God loves us, that he exists, that he organized his church on the face of the earth again. That church's name is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What a privilege to be a member of that church. I'm very grateful for that. You guys, thank you so much for listening. You can subscribe on iTunes or watch on the Philip Koerper Show channel on YouTube. And you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.